Welcome to the Win Streaks preview and prediction of all 32 NFL teams for the upcoming 2017 season. Over the next few weeks, I will be covering all 32 teams, so please subscribe on YouTube or the podcast platform you're listening on so you don't miss an episode. My name is Corey Foister. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Corey Foister. Follow the show on social media at Winstreak News on Twitter, facebook.com/thewinstreak, thewinstreak.com. Leave a review and subscribe on the podcast platform you're listening on. If you are listening to us on YouTube, our channel is Soaring Jet Production. Please give us a like and subscribe. Contact us at soaringjetproductions@gmail.com. Join the Winstreaks Fantasy Football League. You can find out more information on our Facebook page, Twitter, my Instagram, and also check out Top 10 Super Bowl Matchup We Want to See. It's our latest Top 10 episode. Me and Brandon did that. Me and Brandon also do a weekly sports wrap-up show. So if you've never heard of the Win Streak before, please check it out. We're really proud of all the stuff we've done so far. We're really excited about this upcoming NFL season. But today, I am going to preview the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars are entering their 23rd season as a NFL franchise. The Jaguars have a 9-year playoff drought. It is the longest drought in franchise history. Only the Rams, Browns, and Bills have a longer playoff drought. The Jaguars' last playoff game was the 2007 divisional round. They lost to the New England Patriots that would go on to go to the Super Bowl, but then lose to the New York Giants. The Jacksonville Jaguars made it to the 1999 AFC Championship game, but lost to Air McNair and the Tennessee Titans. The Jaguars are one of only 4 teams to never appear in the Super Bowl, along with the Lions, Browns, and Texans. That little stat looks worse for the Lions and Browns considering they've been around since really the beginning of the NFL, while the Texans and the Jaguars have only been around for 20 or so years. The Jacksonville Jaguars and Texans are the only 2 teams in the NFL to never appear in a championship game. The Lions did appear in the 1957 NFL Championship game, and the Browns appeared in the 1969 NFL Championship game. First year under head coach Doug Marrone. I like the hiring of Doug Marrone. My New York Jets were considering hiring him over Todd Bowles. Seeing the work that Todd Bowles has done, I kind of wish we would have hired Doug. But I actually liked Doug when he was the head coach of the Buffalo Bills. He did a lot of good for the Buffalo Bills when he was head coach there in 2013 and 2014. He actually gave the Bills their first winning season, and I can't tell you how long. The Jacksonville Jaguars finished last in the AFC South last year. The Jaguars posted a record of 3-13 in 2016, beating the Indianapolis Colts and the Tennessee Titans at home and the Bears on the road. The Jaguars have not had a winning season since 2007 and only been at 500 once since 2007. That was 8-8 back in 2010. The Jacksonville Jaguars made the playoff 4 of their first 5 seasons in the NFL. They looked like a promising expansion team, but quickly went south after 2000. Yeah, the Jacksonville Jaguars, that is one thing. Most expansion teams are just completely awful, but the Jaguars were the exception to that because their first season they missed the playoff, but then the next 4 they made the playoff and went to the AFC Championship game and almost won that and went to the Super Bowl only, I believe, in their 4th or 5th season as a NFL franchise. So if you had a crystal ball, you were probably going to say, and you had only seen the first 5 seasons of the Jaguars, you're going to say, wow, this is going to be a good franchise in Florida. And now the Jacksonville Jaguars have kind of been the forgotten team in Florida. The Jaguars have made 6 playoff appearances. 1996, 97, 98, 99, 2005, and 2007. Two divisional titles, both from the AFC Central. They were AFC Central champs in 98 and 1999. Owner Ashid Khan, he bought the team in 2011 for $770 million. In 2015, Forbes estimated the team value at $1.4 billion. The Jaguars are the only NFL team to play 7 home games. They play 1 road game in London. Granted, they are the quote unquote home team, but let's be honest, when you have to go play in London, you have to travel to London too. There really is no home team per se. It's just 2 road teams, and one get to wear a road jersey and the other gets to wear a home jersey. Uh, and like I mentioned before, the Jaguars are really the forgotten team in Florida. The Dolphins and Buccaneers always get more attention. You know, you got the Miami Dolphins. They've won 2 Super Bowls. They had a perfect season back there in the 70s, and the Buccaneers won back in 2002 with Gruden, and the Jaguars have really been this forgotten team in Florida ever since then. The Jaguars' biggest franchise what if. Here's my biggest what if for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Where would the franchise be had Jacksonville not fired Tom Coughlin as head coach of the team? Coughlin was head coach from 1995 to 2002, coached 128 games, won 68, lost 60, only Jaguars head coach with a winning record, 8 playoff games, went 4-4, AFC Championship appearance in 1999. Coughlin would go on to coach the New York Giants and win 2 Super Bowl rings for the New York Giants. To me, I think looking back at the Jaguars' short history, them letting go of Tom Coughlin was a major mistake. Letting him walk and then picking Jack Del Rio up, which Jack Del Rio, it worked a little bit. Granted, he got used to the playoff twice. He wasn't a completely garbage head coach. I mean, look what he's doing now for the Oakland Raiders. But I wish the Jaguars would have kept Coughlin, because Coughlin, like I said, to take an expansion team to the playoff 4 out of its first 5 seasons, that is impressive. I don't care, you know, what league it's in. To have an expansion team make the playoff that quick is impressive. And it's interesting to see where would the Jacksonville Jaguars have gone had Coughlin stayed in Florida. Going towards the 2017 season, like I said, Doug Marrone, he's head coach. I believe he is safe as a rookie. He would have to go 0-16, 1-15 to have, to possibly get fired. The Jaguar starting quarterback is Blake Bortles. He has to start doing things to avoid being labeled a bust, in my opinion. Now is the time to step up. Backup quarterbacks are Brandon Allen and Chad Henne, which proves it is Bortles or bust in Jacksonville, because Allen and especially Chad Henne are not going to be the saviors in Jacksonville. Jacksonville has teased the league with potential as they stockpile young talent, but they can't execute on the field. Biggest positive change for me is getting Tom Coughlin to come manage a piss-poor front office in Jacksonville. The Jags have young talent, and young good talent too, on defense. Signing defensive lineman Tallis Campbell, adding cornerback A.J. Boyle, and safety Barry Church will help young secondary like Ramsey and Jack. The talent is there on the defense, and they just need to figure out how to execute. Biggest negative change for me, the offensive line didn't get any better. Can second round pick Cam Robinson make an immediate impact? Bortles will make or break this season for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Bortles needs to cut down on interceptions, and Fowler needs to become the sack provider this franchise has been without for years. So a big year for Bortles, because if Bortles does not bring it on, then he'll be out of Jacksonville. I don't see why Jacksonville will re-sign him. So this is a big year for Bortles in Jacksonville. Looking towards the preseason, their schedule is at New England, home for the Buccaneers and the Panthers, and at Atlanta. Not a bad preseason schedule. To me, um, I'm a Jets fan. I always look at these and it's like, I want my preseason schedule to basically be as much travel as less travel as possible. So, outside of traveling all the way up to New England, you got to travel to Atlanta. That's not too bad of a preseason schedule. The best I've seen so far is the Los Angeles Chargers, which, if you want to hear about the Los Angeles Chargers, just go down on your feed at the last episode I did. They don't even have to leave the state of California. They just have to go play the Rams on the other side of LA and have to go up to San Francisco to play the 49ers. So, pretty easy preseason schedule for the Chargers. I don't think you can get any better than that, not even having to leave your state to go play a road game. Looking towards the regular season, the Jaguars will host the Ravens in London. This is the fifth consecutive home game for the Jacksonville Jaguars in London. This will happen week 3. On the show before, we've often talked about, what's going to happen to the Jaguars. Are the Jaguars going to move to London? There's always been this talk, or it's not even really talk. Uh, you can go on ESPN and check the attendance. They have a problem drawing fans in Jacksonville, but then again, look at Jacksonville. They have the fourth longest playoff drought in the NFL. It's hard to draw fans when you constantly suck. So I'm pulling for the Jacksonville Jaguars to stay in Jacksonville because I really don't want a team in London. I would hate for my team to have to travel, especially if it's going to be in the AFC South. If you're a Titan fan, a Colts fan, a Texan fan, going all the way to London one time every season, that's just a pain in the ass. The Jaguars have no primetime games this season. Last season was featured on Thursday Night Football, I believe, against the Tennessee Titans. It was a color rush game. I hate some of those color rush jerseys are really nice, and then other ones are like, oh my god, what the hell are you doing? So anyway, my 2017 game by game prediction, going worst case, best case scenario. September 10th, you open up at Houston. I say worst case scenario, you lose this game. Best case scenario, you win this game. I'm still not sold on the Houston Texans winning the AFC South. I know a lot of people still have them favored to win it. Personally, I like the Titans better. I'm a little bit, well, I'm not just a little bit. I'm really worried about the Texans quarterback situation because let's be honest, the Texans with that defense could be a Super Bowl team. They just need a better quarterback. Personally, to me, you look at Colin Kaepernick, he's still out there without a job. I think he would be a perfect fit there with the Texans or the Broncos. Two teams with a Super Bowl, definitely a playoff defense, but just missing that quarterback, missing that QB piece. Moving on, September 17th, you're at home for the Tennessee Titans. I say best case, worst case, you lose that game. I do not see you beating the Tennessee Titans. I'm really high on the Tennessee Titans this year. The 24th of September, you're at home for the Ravens. I say worst case, you lose that game. Best case, you can upset the Baltimore Ravens. The Baltimore Ravens at time look like a good team that they were 3-4 years ago. Another time it just they seem like they're a little bit past their prime and they haven't been able to, replace these amazing athletes that they had on that defense for years. Ray Lewis, all these amazing defensive players. So I say you leave September at worst with a 0-3 record, at best a 2-1 record. You go on to October 1st at New York against the New York Jets. I say worst case scenario, you lose this game. Best case scenario, you beat the New York Jets. The only reason I don't say that's a solid win is because you have to go to New York. The Jets are better at home than they are on the road. And it just really depends on the Jets quarterback situation because the Jaguars definitely have the better quarterback, but who's starting for the New York Jets? You could have Petty, McCown, you might even have Christian Hackenberg. So it really depends who's the quarterback and how awful this team really is without any veterans on it. Or, there might be some young talent that comes in and surprises everybody. October 8th, you're at Pittsburgh. I say you definitely lose that game. I don't see you going into Pittsburgh and beating the Steelers. October 15th, home against the Rams. I say that's a win either way because the Rams are coming from Los Angeles all the way over to Florida. The Rams are not a good team, in my opinion, and a Rams team that has to travel to the East Coast. Now, I have to give it to Jacksonville. Uh, then October 22nd at Colts game. I say worst case you lose, best case you win. And Andrew Luck is a great quarterback. It's just the supporting cast behind him has always been an issue. Then you have a bye week going into November. So worst case scenario, you have one win. You're 1-6. Best case scenario, you are 4-3. Going to November, home against the Bengals. Worst case, you lose that game. Best case, you win that game. The Bengals are always great about dropping games that they should win. The Bengals should win against the Jacksonville Jaguars in Jacksonville, but that's the Bengals for you. So you have a chance at beating the Bengals. On November 12th, the Chargers come in. Worst case scenario, you lose this game. Best case scenario, you win this game because once again, it's a LA team coming in from the West Coast. But the thing is, they got Phillip Rivers. They actually have talent. They have some quality players, unlike the LA Rams. So that's why I give the Chargers a chance in this game. November 19th at Cleveland. I say best case, worst case, you actually lose this game. I believe that the Cleveland Browns can be a tricky team at home. Call me crazy, but I think the Cleveland Browns are going to be a pretty good team this year. About a 6-7 win team, which, for other teams, 5, 6, 7 wins aren't good, but for the Browns, that's like a championship right there. November 26th at Arizona. Best case, worst case, I say you lose that game. The Arizona Cardinals, I don't know if they are a playoff team, but they're going to be contending. They're going to be in the mix for at least the wild card, so they're really going to need this game. You have to go all the way to Arizona. I say, as long as Carson Palmer and Larry Fitzgerald and that defense can somewhat have it together, I say the Cardinals will win this game. So you go into December, worst case scenario, you are 1-10. Best case scenario, you are 6-5. December, you have December 3rd, the Colts. I say worst case, you lose that game. Best case, you win that game. You got the Seattle Seahawks coming in December 10th. I say worst case, best case, you lose that game. You could make it close because the Seahawks have shown that they can lose to not solid teams on the road. They, benefit greatly from that stadium, and they're just a better home team probably because of just the crowd noise. December 17th, you got the Houston Texans again. I say worst case you lose that. Best case you win against the Houston Texans. December 21st, 4th, I should say, at San Francisco. I say best case, worst case, you beat the 49ers. And then to finish the season, December 31st, home against the Tennessee Titans. Best case, worst case, I say you lose that game. So, best case scenario, the Jacksonville Jaguars are 9-7. Worst case scenario, they finish 2-14. My final prediction is that the Jacksonville Jaguars will go 4-12. The Jags could upset the Ravens in London. The London games are really weird. Look at the Redskins and the Bengals last year. That game ended in a tie. These games are really weird in London because of all the traveling, all the distractions that lead up to it. So you pretty much are on a neutral field. There is no, like I was saying, home team. So Jags could upset Ravens, even though I'd say Ravens are a better team. But when you get to London, just that whole week is just a major distraction. And I don't personally like London games. Also, being on the East Coast, they play at about 9 in the morning. For people on the West Coast, that's like 6 a.m. in the morning. It's like, who's watching these damn games this early? But like I said, Jaguars could upset the Ravens in London. They got two LA teams traveling to Florida, so that gives them a great opportunity. You got the 49ers. Granted, you have to travel out there. You got the Jets, but you have to travel there along with the Browns. So 49ers, Jets, Browns, if you had all three of those teams at home, I say you could at least take two of those three games, but granted, they're all on the road. But I still see you beating one or maybe even two of these teams. So the Jacksonville Jaguars do have some potential. So, but I don't know. I just don't see the Jacksonville Jaguars being able to get it done. So I'm going to go 4-12, but I can actually see the Jaguars proving me wrong and possibly winning 5 or even 6 more games. Well, I shouldn't say 6 more. I should say either winning 5 wins or 6 wins. But this was my preview for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Please go back and check out the other episodes. I've done a episode on the Cleveland Browns, on the New York Jets, and the LA Chargers. I'm doing the Buffalo Bills and the 49ers and all the other teams coming up here really shortly. Follow on social media. That is Twitter at Winstreak News, Facebook.com/TheWinstreak, TheWinstreak.com. Leave a review and subscribe on the podcast platform you're listening on. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Soaring Jets Production. Contact us at soaringjetsproductions@gmail.com. Join our fantasy football league. Top 10 Super Bowl matchups we want to see is now live. But once again, my name is Corey Foister. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Corey Foister. This was my preview and game-by-game prediction for the 2017 Jacksonville Jaguars. We will see you next time. Keep on winning, everybody.